O'Brien here. Chef Marshall O'Brien's Cooking with Confidence cooking show, live streaming, interactive cooking show every Thursday night. New time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And oh my gosh. There we go. Gotta get the mic on.
Is mine on?
All right, is yours on? Okay, I thought I turned it on.
All right.
Well, I don't know if you heard me, but let me just repeat it. This is so excited to have you here. This is our live streaming interactive cooking show. We're doing every Thursday nights, new time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You know, I want to bring you great, tasty, nourishing foods. We'll talk about the purpose of the show in just a second for you new folks watching. But make sure that you share this stream with your social networks on Facebook. And if you are watching it on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence. You can also find us on Instagram at chefmarshallobrien.com. We put this show together for 4 reasons. Number one, we want to give you at least one positive thing to look forward to during the week. Could use more positivity in the world? I think we could. Number two, we want to give you great tasting, nourishing foods to help you get those skills and confidence in the kitchen. Take some meal planning stress out of your life. Number three and number four, we want to help you nourish yourself, not just feed yourself. So every Thursday night, again, new time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You might be asking, why did we change the time? We sent out a survey a couple weeks ago. Want your feedback because we made this show for you, and it's our way to give back to help with those skills and having fun and having, whether it's date night, family night, learning how to cook night, learning how to get something tasty in your belly night, whatever it is. That's why we are here. Tonight's recipe is fabulous, inspired by our recent family vacation. We are doing a Costa Rican Gallo Pinto, which means, anybody know? Let us know in the chat box. By the way, folks, that's how we're communicating. Whether you're watching, we got waves. I want to say thank you to Gabriel and Alex for producing, and my wife, Jonna, for moderating, answering questions. But if you got questions, let us know in the chat box, and Jonna's going to relay it to me, and we are going to answer your questions. Anybody know what Gallo Pinto means? Let us know in the chat box. And if you don't know, I'll tell you in a second. But this is a great recipe, and it's super, super, super easy. And there's some really cool health benefits I can't wait to tell you about. For the recipe, we have, very simple, we of course have some rice and beans. We have some onions, bell peppers. We have a little bit of cilantro, little salt, you could use any kind of oil you want really, or use some ghee. I happen to use some olive oil. And I have some additional items that you can make, because this dish is traditionally done for breakfast, but some people do it for an evening meal or midday meal. So if you want to add some chicken, which I'm going to be doing for this, and I'll show you how to do that. The recipe I gave you is a vegetarian-based recipe, but you can add chicken to it if you want to have a side of eggs for desayuno, if I remember my Spanish. Is that right? Did I say that right, Gabriel? Desayuno, breakfast? Okay, thanks. He's my resident Hispanic speaking master back there. Thank you, sir. Okay. You know what gallo means? All right, there you go. Anyways, folks, make sure if you're going, hey, I want to do this, looks kind of fun, get the recipe shopping list in advance. Go to chefmarshallobrien.com/show. And I'm also really excited that we are streaming the show on our website now moving forward. We're still working on some of the technology so you can actually interact if you're going to watch on there. But if you're watching right now, that means you're watching through Facebook or through YouTube. And really appreciate you all being here tonight. Okay, I feel like I'm missing some stuff, but we're just going to roll with it. As I said in the recipe, and you should have it, and if you don't, again, go to chefmarshallobrien.com/show. I'm going to be adding some chicken to it, but I actually prepared it. I prepared some extra, and I'll show you. I had some eggs with that, and you probably already saw that in the pictures. First things first, what do? We got to get our pan ready. Get the pan heated up so that, and you could actually, while you're prepping out your vegetables, it's very simple. When you're prepping those out, you could be heating up your pan. So let's get our onions sliced up. We're going to do about 1/4 cup of onion. Make it simple for yourself. I want you to feel really comfortable with your knife skills, so we're always practicing knife skills. And you can see, speaking of which, folks, let us know. Scale of 1 to 4. 4, are you a ninja knife master? Or 1, are you needing some help in the kitchen? How are your knife skills these days? Let us know in the chat box, whether you're watching on Facebook, or YouTube. Let us know in the chat. I want to know. Scale of 1 to 4. 4, you're awesome. 1, not so much. Where are you at? Put your courage in your fingertips. Let us know. Questions, comments, thoughts. We are going to finally chop up, and that's, just get these into nice small little pieces. We're going to chop up fine our onion and our peppers here. And my pan is certainly hot. We're going to add the oil. Now, if you do the recipe just straight up as a vegetarian version, no meat or chicken, and again, I said that was optional, you would just do it as the recipe calls. If you want to add meat to it, and that's what I'm doing right now, I'm going to add chopped up chicken to the dish right this instance. So I have some chicken breast that I cut up. We're going to add that. And we're going to let this cook. This dish is going to go so fast, and it's awesome. And what makes it super quick is you already have your rice cooked. The beans are ready to go. Whether you're doing dried beans or canned beans, really doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have it all set. And it's really important when you have your ingredients prepped and in advance ready to go, makes life so much easier. We're going to take some bell pepper here. Take those out. Questions, comments, thoughts? Anybody? How's everybody doing? What do we do on? How do we do on the knife scores? I want to know. How do we do on the knife scores? You'll notice that I'm just letting the knife do the work. Letting the knife do the work here. This Pinto Gallo dish. Pinto Gallo means spotted rooster. And I do not know the origins of that, but it is a staple in Costa Rican cuisine. And if you're wondering, and it's okay, because I don't know if I knew where Costa Rica was 10 years ago, but I've been there a few times, and now I know where it is, to be totally honest. It's in Central America. It is just north of Nicaragua. If I remember someone throw me a lifeline. I hope I'm correct on that, but it's in Central America. And this dish is a staple. And depending on the city or the family or the region, there might be some little bit nuances to it. But one thing for sure that is not a nuance, that is always a staple, is the salsa Lozano. And in the recipe that I gave you, I said use the salsa Lozano, or you could use Worcestershire. Now, a lot of purists would say that that is not going to work, but this week, as I was prepping for this show, I called 3 different Hispanic markets, and I could not find the sauce. And so I wanted to make it really easy for you, and that's one of the things of this show is we want to make this simple, we want to make it approachable, and we want to make it fun. So having those ingredients is important. So in the event that you weren't able to find the salsa Lozano sauce, which is like a national icon institution in Costa Rican cooking, I'm saying you can use Worcestershire. It will work for that. Okay, I'm going to add my peppers to here. And this is really the hard part, You got a question, thought? Jonna, good evening. Haven't heard from you all night. Lots of smiles, though, like that.
Well, hello. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl says, hi, Chef. Liz wants to know, can I use minute rice?
Yes, you can use minute rice. At the end of the day, you want to use rice that's pre-cooked just because this is about convenience and ease. Now, I'm going to actually give you a really awesome health benefit of using cooked in advance rice. Normally, when you cook rice, you cook it, you eat it, spikes your blood sugar, digests in your stomach. Now, here's the cool thing. When you cook it in advance and then you heat it up, so it's already cooked, then you heat it up, here's the actual health tip. The health benefit is that pre-cooked rice now, it becomes starch resistant, meaning it does not digest in your stomach. Rather, it digests in your intestines, in your large intestines, and it will not spike your blood sugar. So if you're trying to have consistent energy, if you're trying to have better mental clarity, you want to keep your blood sugar stable. And rice and beans can sometimes get knocked for the carbohydrates. I get that, but we got the fiber in there, and now when you're working with a starch resistant carb like this pre-cooked rice, now you don't have that problem. So that's something that I want you to be thinking about. If you're trying to keep your blood sugar stable, this recipe can actually be helpful in that standpoint. Another thing that I want to point out is when you're adding protein to this dish, that protein takes longer to digest, and it's also going to help keep your blood sugar stable as well. So keep that in perspective. All right, John has got a question there.
No, it's a comment. Sandy
It's a
says,
comment.
"Oh my
Yes.
gosh, great tip! Thank you." And everyone is excited to see you.
Well, I'm excited to have all of you here, and I appreciate it. You know, folks, please make sure, do us a big favor, and right below the live stream feed that you see, click share to your entire social media community, and let's just keep letting people know about this, because the more we can get people cooking together and having fun, the more people are going to have great tasting, nourishing food that's going to work for them and not against them. You know, honestly, the hardest part of this whole recipe is probably me talking, explaining it. I mean, it's that simple. So we have, our onions are absolutely translucent by this point, and if you didn't add chicken like I did, it'd be ready even quicker. Now what we're going to do is we are now going to add the beans with the broth. And if you want to, you can use the broth that, oh, you know what I forgot to do? See, I'm human. Forgot to add the cilantro. Okay, we're going to chop up our cilantro real quick here. Make sure that we're going to add that. Now that cilantro obviously cooks super fast, but we really want the flavors to infuse. So we're going to get this all nice and chopped up, and then we're going to add it. So my apologies, I did not go in order of my recipe. Sometimes that's how I roll, but you know, I mean well. All love there. All right, let's add this. Again, flip the knife, the back of your knife, so that you can scrape your cutting board. If sometimes you hear things and they're redundant, I'm just trying to help you incorporate these, or for those that are new watching, I'm always trying to bring some of these real staple, important fundamental pieces and make them obvious so that people can make that a part of their life.
Cindy loves the tip on rice. Blood sugar is hard for me. And Sandy says her husband has diabetes, so great thought.
I appreciate you letting us know that. The whole blood sugar stable thing is huge. You know, if you're going to have carbohydrates, focus on starch-resistant carbohydrates. So the rice, like we talked about, it's pre-cooked. That's key. Plantains, we had a lot of plantains down there. They're kind of hard to find in Minnesota. I don't have a whole lot of plantain trees here, but they're a starch-resistant carbohydrate. Certain grains, when you cook them and then you chill them and reheat them up, they can be starch-resistant. There's a lot of research out there. Just type starch-resistant grains and you will find more information. And then obviously, if you're trying to keep your blood sugar stable, having more fiber-rich foods, so you can do carbs, but focus on non-starchy carbohydrates, so maybe more cabbage, more kale, broccoli, cruciferous vegetables. That will help. The protein and good quality fat's going to help keeping your blood sugar stable as well. All right, so we added the beans. And then we're going to add the broth now. And I got distracted because I forgot the cilantro. But what I wanted to say, with the broth, you can use vegetable broth, chicken broth, or there's going to be liquid from if you do canned beans, you could take some of that bean broth, and that's totally fine too. So that's a nice little tip for you. When you're using vegetable broths and chicken broths and stuff, if you're not making it yourself, pay attention to the sodium content because it can be high. And speaking of sodium, I forgot, I went out of order again. I have the recipe called for 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And that might seem like a lot. If you are doing it vegetarian, maybe you add a little bit, then you can adjust for the flavor. But if you're adding a protein like I did, adding that chicken, then this actually will end up being, it'll be an appropriate amount. So you can always adjust the salt level when you are adding it yourself. So you're in control of that. All right, so we have this simmering away. Questions, comments, thoughts. Okay. Next, what we're going to do, once your onions are translucent, your peppers are nice and tender, chicken's obviously cooked through, the beans are obviously cooked through.
It smells good.
This is like the quickest recipe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is super quick. You know, because we were off for a couple weeks, we do not have any shout outs, but one of the big things I love doing on this show is people take pictures of their dish, and then we're going to acknowledge you. So next week, folks, all of you that are watching, and if you do the recipe on demand, on our YouTube, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence YouTube channel. If you do it that way, take a picture of what you make. If you want to take a picture of your final dish, you want to take a picture of your ingredients, you want to take a picture of you toasting with an awesome glass of wine, whatever it might be, please send your pictures in. You can put the pictures in the chat. You can email them to me at chefmarshall@chefmarshallobite.com. You can Facebook message me, text me, whatever, but we want to acknowledge you. So we were gone for a handful of weeks, so we don't have any shout outs because we were chilling by the pool, enjoying the sun, but next week we'll definitely do that.
Well, Linda says, this is so much fun. My family is all watching and cooking. Great family activity, and we get to eat.
I
That's so
love
sweet.
hearing that, and that's the whole purpose of us doing the show. Thank you, Linda, for commenting, and thank you for having your family be involved. We want to, family night, date night, just make this a cool time. And I also want to know if there's things that we can do different for you. I mentioned we did that survey a few weeks ago. Now we adjusted the time. I also eventually, as time goes on, I want to be asking you, what recipes do you want? So for those of you that are watching, and if you watch this and it's not even live, say in the chat box or shoot me an email, what kind of dishes would you like? We focus on simple, quick, delicious, for the most part, simple, quick, definitely delicious, but also nourishing. Foods work for you or they work against you. So I was just talking about, blood sugar and helping increase energy and mental clarity and stuff. But we want to give you foods that are going to make life easier for you and not just feed you, but we want to nourish you. So as you think about things that you think would be fun and helpful for you and your family, please let me know.
Question.
Yes.
Cheryl wants to know, would cumin be good in this?
I'm glad that you asked that because with the spices, when we talk about incorporating the beans and the broth, I'm just saying put it in the pan with, I wrote spices on the recipe, and in truth I meant the peppers and the onions and the oil that was in there. There is cumin in the salsa Lozano sauce. You could certainly add extra cumin, it'd be good, and I'm actually going to add that sauce right now. But cumin would be really nice. Paprika would be really nice. Now, I am not a native Costa Rican, and for those of you that participate in my cooking shows and use my recipes, I'm pretty flexible. I just want to get all the barriers out of the way so that you will enjoy great tasting, nourishing food. So when I get into the space of authentic traditional dishes, I don't want to I want to honor those as best I can and not swerve off and I want to keep it true to what it is. But having said that, there's cumin in the sauce ingredients. There's also tamarind in there. There's paprika, black pepper, and there's a whole host of spices. So adding cumin, I think, would be absolutely awesome. That was a very long-winded answer, but I hope that answers your question, Cheryl. Okay, last thing I'm going to add. You want to share something?
No, I'm just...
Get smiles over that. Well, it's good to have smiles in the kitchen, and there's a very serious smile over in that spot there.
Yeah, we have...
Okay. Next and last point, this is basically done. We're going to add the rice. I used a jasmine rice. At the end of the day, if you want to use like any kind of long grain white rice, that's fine. We've already talked about why pre-cooked and just from a convenience, but then from a blood sugar standpoint, the benefits of that. But if you use a brown rice, you have more fiber in there, whereas white rice doesn't have the fiber. So it really kind of comes down to what works for you and your body. But having said that, we're going to add the rice to this dish.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
Comment? Sandy says, I have been looking for a rice and bean recipe for a long time. Most call for liquid smoke, not a fan. This is healthy sounding, very quick. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
very
Sandy.
welcome. You are welcome, Sandy. Yeah, this is definitely healthy, quick. When you are prepared, you have your ingredients done in advance. Again, I made this. I took a lot of time talking about things, and in truth, if you were to make this just how I had this set up, it'd be done like that in probably 10 minutes. But this just looks fantastic. It's simple, and it's good to go. In the recipe, I give you those optional items. If you're going to add meat to it, add the meat in the beginning like I did. And the recipe just says, doesn't have the meat, but I added that. I added about a pound of meat because with the beans and with a pound of meat, we're going to be covered to serve folks. If you want to do tortillas, add this in a tortilla. Now you're going to up your carbohydrates. And so if you are trying to keep your, if you're carb conscious, maybe don't do the tortillas, certainly up to you. But this is a great tasting, nourishing dish. Super, super tasty. All right, let's just recap real quick. Tips we talked. We got to pre-cook the rice. It's going to make it quicker, but then more importantly, it's going to be starch resistant, and it's going to help keep your blood sugar stable as a result. Going for the canned beans, make sure, I didn't say this, but make sure that you rinse those canned beans because you can get up to 40% of the sodium out of those with the processing when they're canned. So canned beans, awesome, awesome, awesome. You can substitute Worcestershire sauce. I know that some people will say, no, you can't, but I did the research, I taste tested it, and it was as close as I could get. So you could substitute Worcestershire if you can't find the salsa Lizano. But the good news is a lot of markets, a lot of mercados, Hispanic markets absolutely will have it. So just check around, or you can get it on Amazon. And I actually got some from a friend of mine. She was so sweet to give me a little container. She wouldn't give me the whole bottle, and now I know why. But that was awesome. So she gave me some of that. And then have it for, like I said, have it for breakfast. Have it for dinner if you want. I did a version of it, you can see here, where I just did a quick scrambled egg on the side, and that's what we had in the picture as well. So this would be awesome on the weekend. I mean, you could have this thing already done during the week and then just heat it up if you want on the stovetop or the microwave, and it'd be all set. Do a fresh egg if you want, whatever it takes. I would highly recommend it. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Yes.
Sandy wants to know, how many servings is your dish?
That the dish will do 4, and if you do not add any meat to it, it'll be kind of a light 4 servings. If you add meat to it, it'll be a little more heartier. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then also we talked, the last tip we talked about was just being mindful on using the salt when you're adding or not adding things. Sorry, I have like a bug in my shirt. Never mind. All right, folks. I'm super happy to be back. I'm glad that you got to be cooking with me tonight. Make sure that you're following us on Facebook, on Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien. On Facebook, Chef Marshall O'Brien, you're here right now. Please share this show with your network. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The more subscribers we have, the more we can unlock production capabilities. And let folks know that are not using Facebook or YouTube that we are now going to be streaming on our website, chefmarshallobrien.com/show. So if you want to get the recipe shopping list in advance, you can cook with us in real time. Absolutely do it. And by the way, if you're looking for more resources, you got family in your life that are trying to learn how to cook great tasting, nourishing foods and get their kitchen set up for success, grab our Smart Nutrition Cookbook Meal Planner. It's right there, and it's awesome. So many people love it, from young professionals, college students, empty nesters. Grab it. It's got over 50 recipes, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Anyways, next week we're going to be doing a curry dish. It's going to be dynamite. You're going to love it. Tune in next week. We'll see ya.